going to divide it by the original in a moment, but first, before that, I need to minus the new value given. You would subtract this in the order to give a positive number, and you can see the difference between this is 700. So now I can actually work out what the equation is. So the difference is 700. The original is going to be the following, 14970. And then you're going to times it by 100. This here is called a mod sign, which means they want you to take the positive value. So they're saying that if you wrote down 14270 minus 14970, that would give you minus 700, but you need to take the positive value of one of those versions. So you get 1 mark if you write down this, and then you get your second mark if you get the actual answer. So the actual answer for this question is going to be following. 4.68%. And it said you can get the mark if you leave it like this, 4.67601. Going on to 5A. Rosa joining a club. I was very disappointed about how well this was answered. This is a basic question, and some of you couldn't interpret the question. Rosa joins a club to prepare to run a marathon. During the first training session, Rosa runs a distance of 3,000 metres. So we're going to say that in her first session, she runs 3,000 metres. Each training session, she increases. So that means we add on each time an extra 400 metres. So all you need to do is you need to add on a 400 metres. So third session, without any equations, just basic M5 maths, I've worked out that she runs 3,800 metres. And that's just a 1 marker. So you just get 1 mark for writing that down. Going on to B now. Write down the distance she runs in the nth training session. So we're expected to use the UN formula. So it's going to be U1 plus n minus 1 times by the distance. So we know the first term of the sequence is 3,000. So we're going to write down 3,000 for U1. We are then going to write down n minus 1d. And we know the difference this time is going to be adding 400 metres. So I'm going to write down the distance as 400. So UN is that. And let's have a look at the mark scheme. You get the mark for that. And because it doesn't say simplify, you can leave it simply as that. If it asks you to simplify, you would write this. Some people did do that successfully, well done. But don't worry if you just leave it as the one on the left. So you get 1 mark for substituting into the arithmetic sequence, and so having a go at putting the right numbers in, and 1 mark for the correct substitution. We are now going to have a look at part C. Now, this was poorly answered, but most people got the gist of the idea. I'm going to show you what workings out you'd write for this question if you had no idea where to go. We're going to use this formula, and we want to say that the answer must be greater than a marathon. So if it's greater than a marathon, we're going to use an inequality sign. So I'm going to copy this over. So we're going to say it's bigger than 42195. And this person's actually written it in meters because the previous parts of the question are in meters. So you need to translate this into meters. And all you need to do then is work out when this happens on the calculator. So I'm going to go back to the y equals. To do that, I need to quit. Y equals. I'm going to clear what's already in the calculator. I'm going to type in the left-hand part of the equation. 3,000 plus brackets x minus 1 close brackets 400. Enter. Then we're going to click table. Now, what you could do is you could work out when this is going to be greater than 42,000. Well, this only gets up to 10,000, so it's going to take us a long time. So I'm going to assume it's a bit bigger than 19. I'm going to guess, let's say it's 80. So rather than scrolling down the whole table like this and spending absolutely ages, I'm going to go to table set, which is above the window. So I'm going to press second window. And I'm going to say I want the table to start at, not 20, I'm going to say I want it to start at 60. I'm going to click enter, and then I'm going to view the table again. So second graph. This looks much better. So we're looking for when this is bigger than 42,195. Still got a bit of a way to go, so you could repeat the process again. But actually I'm coming up to the answer now. So when n, or in this instance x, is equal to 99, the y, or the distance she's run, is 42,200. So I'm going to write a sentence so you can understand this. We're going to say that on her 99th training session, she runs 42,200 meters. This is greater than 42,195 meters. Therefore, it must be training session 99. K is equal to 99. You must explicitly write K is equal to 99. This sentence here is actually not compulsory. But I'm writing that so you understand what the question's asking you. In the exam, you get 1 mark for writing this. And then you get your second mark for writing K is equal to 99. We're now going to go on to 5D. Calculate the totals. Whenever we see the word total, this is to do with sums of things. So let's have a look. The total distance in kilometres. So we just need to use the S of n formula. S of n is equal to, I'm going to do n divided by 2. And this time I'm going to use the other formula we haven't used. 2 lots of u1 plus n minus 1d, close brackets. And all we've got to do is substitute in the correct values. So we know that n in this instance is going to be 50. N is equal to 50 because there are 50 training sessions. U1 is how much she runs in the first training session. Well, in the first session she runs 3,000. So I'm going to write U1, she runs 3,000. So we've got N, we've got U1, and all we need to do now is write D. D, she runs a further 400 metres each time. So D is 400. So all you have to do then is substitute the relevant numbers into this equation. Using the mark scheme, you get 1 mark for writing this. And then you get your second mark for writing the answer. And then there are 4 marks altogether. So let's see where they come from. You actually, get 2 marks for the first bit. So you get 2 marks for this bit here. You get 1 mark for writing 6,400 metres. by putting it into your calculator. You get 1 mark for understanding, well, we need to put this into kilometres. 6A, B and C. I'm not going to go over this because most of you got this right and you should be able to do this one. And last but not least, let's go over question 7. Again, most of you got into the gist of this. A tree begins losing its leaves in October, increases the same number each day. You can either keep counting up the pattern. And the way I did this is I worked out what UN was. So I'm going to say the first term is 24 plus N minus 1D. Each time we're adding 16. I'm just going to then type this on my calculator. So getting my calculator, I'm going to click quit. And then I'm going to type in Y equals, and I'm going to clear everything here. 24 plus brackets x minus 1 brackets 16, enter. And I want to see what the table looks like, because we want to see what happens on the 21st of October. So I'm going to click enter, and then I'm going to click second table, and this time it's starting at 89. We don't want this, so I'm going to change the format of the table. So go back onto table set, and actually I'm going to start at 21 because that will be giving me my answer. Second table, there we go. On 21st of October it loses 344 leaves, so our answer is 344. So on the mark scheme you get your mark for 344. If you didn't get the right answer, you'd get 1 mark for trying to substitute, 1 mark for the correct substitution, so you get 2 marks for this, and then the 3rd mark for the answer. Very similar. Again, it says the word total, so we're going to use the sum of formula. S of n equals, right, I don't know how many leaves are in the final day, so I'm going to use the more complex formula. N divided by 2, 2 lots of U1 plus N minus 1D. There we go, there's the formula we want. We know that U1 is the first number of leaves that are lost, so U1 is 24. We know D from before is 16, and we know that N is going to be 31. Now a few of you stuck with 24, but it's now changed to 31. So I'm going to copy this. So our answer is going to be this. Perfect. Please make sure you're revising, returning to this all the time, otherwise you're not going to understand this topic. Best of luck.